So here are my recordings for the solutions of the basic commands part of the Git course. So this is my setup in the terminal. I will use this part to display the exercise, this part to type, and this will show you the latest commands that I type. So first of all, if you haven't done it yet, so you can clone the repository with this command git clone, GitHub HPC2N course intro git. Then you can move to the course intro git, and then unzip the git materials. And in git materials, you can go to the exercises which are here. So I will show you this part, which is basic commands. And it has two parts, the basic commands and the git diff usage. So I will go to the first part. And as you can see here, it's just a README file. So that's what I mentioned, it's just a recipe. And because of that, I don't know how to elaborate a solutions text, right? Other than doing it manually. So we can go to this file, and this is the instructions file for the exercise. So as it says, the purpose of this exercise to learn about the basic commands a bit further. So first, we start with the creation of a folder called my second repo, which will contain your repository. So in this case, you go to the place where you are working, uh, most likely in the project directory. So I will work in the directory, in my case, in a folder where I will place this repository. So I will create the repository, my second, or first I will create the folder, my second repo, yeah. Then I will move to the folder, my second repo, and then I will perform the first step, which is the initialization of the repository. And we did it with the git init command. And then in the second part, it asks me for the creation of a README file. And I will create it, readme.md. And I can add a line saying file created on September 30, 2020. Yeah. So we can now stage the file, which means adding it to the staging area. You add readme.md and commit the changes. We can use git commit. We can use -m or the larger version without any argument, and this will send us to the text editor. So what I will do it in a faster way. I will say first file. Yeah. So we can check the status. So this is a long command, but I show you during the lecture that we can do a shortcut. So in my case, I use a shortcut on the terminal called GST that gives you the git status. Yeah, so it's a shorter version for me. And then it asks us to create a second file called poem.mv. Yeah. Without any text. So if we don't want any text, then it's better to use Touch. Otherwise, if you want to write something, then you can use the VIM or Nano or anything else. But an empty file can be done with a Touch command. So we can check that the file is there, but it's empty. So then it says copy and paste the following paragraph. From the poem of La Lluvia by Jorge Luis Borges into the poem.md file. So we can then copy and paste these two paragraphs. You can see here, there are two paragraphs, and I will copy and paste them. So let me do that. You can use your method of choice to copy and paste. I will use VIM to do that. So I will just copy and paste these two paragraphs. As you can see here now in the poem.md, I can see the two paragraphs. But if you're using another editor like a Nano or Notepad, then you need to do that with the mouse. So we copy and pasted the two paragraphs. Then this asks us to stage the first paragraph only, and we saw that today, and we can do that with the git add -p and poem, the name of the file. So then it will send us sorry, I haven't staged that. I will check the status. So yes, this notice here that this was something that I mentioned, that we need to follow these steps and gradually, yes, one by one. So as you can see here, I created the file without any text, but by mistake, I didn't stage it and I didn't commit that. So that's why I cannot proceed with the exercise now. So what I can do is that I can here go to the file poem, and I will delete everything without any text. So then check the status, and I will add it as the exercise mentioned, and I will commit the file to start tracking that. Something like this, point file. So now the file is tracked. I check the status and nothing is there. So then I can start adding the lines that were mentioned previously. I will select the lines and just copy them. So then I open the file, poem, and the lines are there. Now I will open the exercise again. So it says stage the first paragraph only. So I will stage only this one and not the second one. And we can do that with git add dash p and poem.md. And now we will go to the editor and we can start editing the file. I will type E as we did in the course. And it says to remove the lines that we don't want, you just remove them in VIM. I can do with DD. And then I'm happy with the first paragraph only. Then I will save the file and quit it. So the next point says check if the stack changes correspond to just the first paragraph by looking at difference between them. We can take a look at the status. We see that part of them are in the staging area and the other parts are in the working directory. If we want to take a look at the differences, we can type the command git diff. And as you can see here, this will give you the difference between the staging area and the working directory. And you can confirm that only the first part is in the staging area. And if you want to see the difference between what you have committed and what you have in the staging area, then you can type the command git diff diff dash dash staged. So this confirms that what we did, it's correct. The working directory and the staging area, we have seen that with git diff, and the staging area, the committing region. Then this is git diff dash dash stage. Commit the changes and check the status. We can commit the changes now. Check the status. Git commit dash m for a faster way. We can put here only the first paragraph. Add it. And then it says check the status. I am using this shortcut, GST, for get the status. Stage the second paragraph. Now only the second paragraph has the changes in the poem file, as you can see. The second paragraph. So how can we do this? We can do git add a poem, yeah, and then git commit dash m, second paragraph. Yeah. And then you will commit the second paragraph now. Yeah. So now on the next point, we need to create a folder called first poem. I will do this here with mkdir, first poem. And we need to move the poem MD to this new folder. So we can use git mv poem and first poem is for the directory. We type git status, and we see that some changes need to be committed. And we commit the changes. Git commit. I will use the larger version just to show you how it works again. So I am sent to the VIM editor in this case, but otherwise, if you are using another editor, you will be sent to that editor. And here I can place some commit message for a file, move to a subfolder. Then what I am happy with this message, I can save it and quit. So this was a challenge. We can add another paragraph to the poem and stage the changes and commit them. So we can check now the status, and we can check the log file for the commits messages with the command git log. So you can see all the commits that I have done to this repository. And we can also have a shorter version that we mentioned before with the one line command. And I did a shortcut for the git log in one line. And in my case, it's called git graph. And you can see here that I have I have one, two, three, four commits. Yeah. So now I will add these the two paragraphs. To the poem. Okay, so it's not there any longer, so I will need to move to the subfolder first poem. And I need to go to this. I will grab two paragraphs, as you can see here. Yeah, now the poem has two more paragraphs. And this is a challenge because we can use another command here. So we need to stage the changes and commit them. So we can ask for the status. And that's why I use a shortcut for the status, because this is a very common command in my case. So we can add the changes and commit them. We use git commit -n. and I can write a few more paragraphs. So now we can take a look at the commits. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And the goal now is to summarize the last 4 commits into a single commit. So we can do this as we saw in the lecture with the git rebase dash I head this symbol tilde and the number of commits we want to squash. This will, okay, so I have something. Okay, I need to add it. I didn't add, sorry. Git add first poem. I will commit it. 2 more paragraphs. Then check the status. Check the log file. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 commits. So I want to squash the last 4 commits into a single one. So I can do that with the git rebase dash I head and the tilde and the number of commits. So this will bring me to the editor, and here there is a suggestion for picking, and so on. So we can take this one as a base for the squashing, and the next ones we can use the squash for squashing. Okay? So this is a very powerful tool, and there are several options to squash the commits, but they could be more specific. Yeah? So I'm just showing you the basic commands, the basic lines. So now it's ready. We pick the first one for the squashing, and then the other ones that will be squashed. Then I will save this and quit. So and here I have a suggestion for the commit message, which includes all the previous commit messages. And here I can write something like a summary of the last 4 commits that were squashed. Now I'm happy with this part, and I can close. And it says it was successfully rebased and updated. So we can take a look at the status and also the Git graph. And you see that instead of the previous 4 commits, we have only 1 now. But notice that I am modifying the history, yes, as there is a new commit here, yeah. And because of that, this command should be used with some care, and also is useful, but in your local repository. So, okay, now I will go to the second exercise, which is Git diff usage. I will open the README file as well. And in this case, we will learn about the git diff command. We can start by creating a new repository that I will call my first repo. Then move to the first repo and do the git initialization, git init. Then I create a file called readme.md. I will add the text file created from September 30, 2020. Save the file and quit. If you're using VIM, then I can check the status. So it says there is an untracked file which is README, and there are some changes that can be staged and committed. Then I stage the file with git add README and commit the changes with git commit -m. In my case, I will put first modifications and I commit. Okay. So I did this part. And it says, at this point, your working directory, the staging area, and the local repository are all synchronized. So if you remember in the lecture, there were three parts: the working directory, staging area, and the local repository. And just at this point, yes, when I committed the changes and nothing is pending in the working or staging area. So the three stages are synchronized, but they can be asynchronous. Yeah. So now we can change the README file by adding a line. I will do that, README, and I will add a line called to-do list, for instance. And now I can check the status. And at this point, notice that the local repository and the staging area are not synchronized any longer, yeah? Because you made some modifications to the working directory. Sorry, the staging area and the local repository are synchronized, sorry, but the working directory is not synchronized because we have changed that. So as a reminder, you can check the differences between the working directory and the staging area with the git diff command. If we type git diff, we will see that in the working directory we added this, but in the staging area we had this line only. Yeah. Also, the differences between the working directory and the local repository can be seen with the git diff and head. Yeah? So this is what we committed previously. And this is the same at this point in the staging area and in the local repository. Yeah? That's why you see the same line. But as I said before, all of these three stages can be asynchronous. Now configure that the changes correspond to what you expected by looking at the different the diff outputs. That is correct in this case because the working directory is the one that contains a single line. So now we add the file to the staging area. Git add readme. And we check the status, and we see that there is something in the staging area. Yes. Now notice that the working directory and the staging area are synchronized with each other, but they are not synchronized with the local repository. We can check the differences between the staging area and the local repository as we did before with the git diff -- staged. You can see now that the staging area contains this new line and the local repository only has the initial line. Also, we can check the difference between the working directory and the local repository if we type git diff and head. Again, the line is here in the working directory. And we confirm that this is what is expected based on the outputs. So now we can make an additional modification to the README file by adding a line with the string at the support email. We can open the file and add a line with the text add the support email. Now the situation is very interesting because at this point, all the three areas, which are the working directory, staging area, and local repository, are not synchronized with each other. So we can check the differences between the working directory and the staging area with the git diff without any argument like this one. You can see now that this line is in the working directory, but not in the staging area. Also, we can check the differences between the staging area and the local repository with the git diff -- stage command. You can see here the to-do list present in the staging area, but not in the local repository. And finally, we can check the differences between the working directory and the local repository if we type git diff and head. So this confirms that the working directory has this additional line and the local repository has nothing. So this was the expected output. Thank you.